my philosophy is that any antenna tuner should not be bigger than the radio. So if the radio is QRP, so preferably the tuner is QRP also. No need to have, the box bigger than the radio just to tune a piece of wire. Today, in this wonderful empty beach of the Baltic Sea, I'm gonna make a small experiment. Radio Elecraft KX2, homemade mini antenna tuner based on L match. This is L circuit in it. It's a heavily reformed and so to say redesigned Zetagi CB antenna tuner. It's only box and two variable capacitors left from the Zetagi original construction, and now it's something different. I'll tell you in a minute what it's all about and how does it work. And this is my 43-foot wire. The upper end probably measuring to the sea level, so it's probably maybe 4 meters from the sea level. Alright guys, so now let's jump for a few moments back to my workbench in the garage and take a look what's inside of this tiny palm size antenna tuner. I found this interesting schematic diagram of this antenna tuner in my favorite Sprat magazine, Sprat number 108 of 2001, autumn 2001, and the author is Jesper Fock Bank, Oscar Zulu 1 X-ray Bravo, the Danish ham radio operator. We see something unusual in this schematic diagram, in this design. The L-type tuner is comprised of normally variable capacitor, which is connected in parallel to the circuit, and the inductor, which is connected in series. The capacitor could be on the left side, on the transmitter side, or on the antenna side. So depending on the impedance we need to match. What about the second variable capacitor? Jesper writes, the variable inductor is made up with one or several switch coils in series with a variable capacitor. The arrangement with a variable capacitor has the benefit that the network can also tune heavily inductive loads. I was intrigued by this idea. Another unusual design feature of this tuner is that the 1-to-4 transformer is included on the transmitter side. So I decided not to use it because I have no space in my box. And then the other argument, I'm not really sure that this is really needed or necessary. I'm not using 1-to-4 transformer. In order to have a schematic diagram handy at all times, I just made a hand drawing on the back of the cover of the box. So that's my version of the L-type antenna tuner. Here's the C2 with the extra additional 100 picofarad capacitor, switched in or off by the means of the switch, extra switch. The same arrangement with the C1. As it comes to the physical implementation, there are two variable capacitors, C1 and C2, each being from 50 to 250 picofarads of capacity. The tiny coil switch, multiple positions, I think 10 or 11 of them. And the major component, I would say, it's a inductor coil wound on the T94-6 material. It's comprised of 31 turns all in all, with 6 taps all in all, starting from the left to the right at 7th, 12th, 17th, 21st, 25th, 27th, and 31st tap. With the 31st, I mean that it's actually, there is a possibility to switch the toroid out of the circuit completely leaving only the capacitor C2 in the circuit. And in some cases, this inductance might be not even needed. On the other side of the tiny PCB, I managed to install two additional high voltage capacitors, 100 picofarads each, and rated for 1000 volts. They are connected by the means of these switches, one and the other. Let's jump back to the beach and try to make a QSO and tune my 43-foot wire. This antenna tuner is really very tiny. The width is like of Elecraft KX2, fits into a palm, and it's not really just purely QRP like 5 or 10 watts. It's okay. I've tried it up to 40-45 watts, and it stands fine if you tune it, of course, with the low power, and then you use the higher power, like up to 40 watts. It stands in my case well. If you do it, of course, you do it on your own. But what is interesting, these capacitors, the original capacitor from Zetagi CB tuner for 27 megacycles, they are quite capable of handling the power, and that's good. That's better than the other capacitors, the variable capacitors in the market I saw, which designed purely for the QRP radios. The whole algorithm of finding a tune with this tuner is you have to choose the lowest possible inductance value, and then the maximum possible capacitors value. So you see now it's not quite good, and now I found a spot where the audio is better. While tuning the inductance and tuning the two capacitors, you're finding this sweet spot of resonance. This tuner is unique in that it could be used, so to say, in the reverse mode. Now the two capacitors are connected in the front of the L-match circuit. But you can equally connect it. I marked this side with the inductance sign. You can equally connect that the inductance will be in the front of the circuit. So, and this is for different impedances. I'm on 40-meter band now. You can hear in this position the best sound. If I push the tune button on Elecraft KX2, I will have, the continuous 3 watts tuning signal, which is very convenient. And you can watch the SWR graph while I'm detuning with the capacitor. I'm detuning with the capacitor, and you see how sharp, and I can tune to very minimum 1-to-1 SWR. It's not just this wire, 13-meter wire strung to the bushes. It's also a counterpoise wire which goes from this terminal, from the ground lug, straight over there, like for 9 meters. So very nice tune, 10 watts output, and the SWR is just 1-to-1. The internal antenna tuner is bypassed. I don't use at the moment the internal antenna tuner of the Elecraft KX2. That's important, bypassing the ATU, otherwise it's going to be a mess. Yes. Cool. On the 30-meter band, the inductor value, it's roughly less than 6 microhenries. So now we see the SWR is around 5, and let's try to find the least value. Okay, so now one capacitor and then tuning the other capacitor. Cool. French station activating a park. Very nice. Lots of parks today. He copied me from the second time, which is, I think, very nice. It's an antenna. Antenna, guys, is just laying on the ground almost. And the tuner tuned, well, quite okay. Not the ideal SWR, but 1.7, 1.8, still workable. Alright, so on 20-meter band, I need to swap the input and output of the tuner. So, of course, with the capacitors in the front of the circuit, I was not able to tune on 20 meters this wire. So I switched the inductor in the front of the tuner in, and so now let's see what happens. I found the loudest hum. Like here, so now let's tune. Okay, 1.0, good. After finding the loudest sound, it's right in this point, 1.6. With the tuners like this and the random wire antennas like this, you always need to fiddle with the lengths of the antenna. But then after swapping the input and output of the tuner, I managed to find this on 20 meters. Lima Yankee 2 Hotel stroke portable.
Lima Yankee 2 Hotel stroke portable, that's correct?
Roger, Lima Yankee 2 Hotel stroke portable, 5x9, 59.
59 also, strong signal. The name Harry. Could you tell me your name?
Yes, Gary, thank you very much. My name is Linus, London India Nancy Alpha Sierra, and I'm running 10 watts into a wire antenna, over.
QSL 10 watts wire antenna, solid signal. Indeed, some QSL between 7 and 9. No problem to receive at all. Linus, 73, good luck. Bye-bye, Linus.
73, Gary, good luck, 73.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, so the propagation is not stable, but so it means this very much improvised setup, like 43-foot wire into the bush, into an empty beach around with the radial wire on the sand. It really worked very well. That was my purpose today, to test this little homemade tuner, which you can make too from old Zetagi CB antenna tuner. It works really well. It's pretty versatile. You can switch it, reverse ends, finding the best L-match unit work for your specific antenna. That was a nice experiment. So please leave your comments in the comment section. What do you think about this Zetagi CB tuner, which I made it the L-match tuner? That's it for today. I want so very much our Ukrainian friends or Ukrainian ham radio operators will come back on the air. So I'm waiting for this very eagerly. For that, they need peace and victory for Ukraine. That's it. Thanks for watching. 73. This is Linus, Lima Yankee 2 Hotel.